Some of you guys love my memes. Some of you guys hate my memes. They're the worst memes ever. Lefties can't meme. Come on now. Come on now. You gotta admit, that one stings a little. It's gotta sting a little, right? I shouldn't be laughing because this is what we're going to talk about today is pretty vile. Almost as vile as, I don't know, Trumpy Bear and Elon Musk, our new fucking robber baron in chief, co-robber barons in chief, handing over Treasury to a fucking hedge fund billionaire, a fucking vulture capitalist, who then turned around and handed the keys back to fucking Elon Musk. Unelected, unofficial, nobody. Handed the keys to Treasury over to him so he could get rid of people at Treasury and then bring in, I swear to God, this sounds like a poorly written fucking soap opera. Hand over the fucking keys to Treasury to some of the most well-guarded information and access this country has. Literally, the people who, the agency that writes the fucking checks for the United States government, hands over the fucking keys, and then he brings in 19 to 24-year-old children from fucking 4chan, high on their goddamn energy drinks with mattresses. Like when the mob would go on the fucking lam, they got to hit the mattresses because shit hit the fucking fan in the mob world, and then they got to go into hiding. So they got to hit the mattresses, go to the mattresses. That's, god damn it, fuck. That's literally what he just did. Literally what they did. So these fucking children can have access to the most sensitive information the United States has. Period. End of story. To do what with? Part of it's what we're going to talk about today. Part of it. This is, it should be making people up in arms. But of course, they're just resigned to, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. Or some of them, because of some of the people we're going to talk about today, some of them actually think this could be a good thing. They're going to do the Lord's work. Until, of course, the Lord's work involves something that hurts them. Then they're going to be crying. They're going to be doing crying MAGA videos on Instagram and TikTok. For views, of course. How could I have been so stupid? Good fucking question. Good fucking question. Good morning, folks. Today is the 4th day of February, 2025. And there's a reason I brought back my meme. Not just to gloat, but I am the world's best lefty memer, which I think I am, by the way. My horrible Photoshop skills. It's not even fun. It's MS Paint. My horrible MS Paint. It doesn't matter. It's the ideas behind it. And the context. That's fucking brilliant. The MAGA breadline sitting there staring at fucking Trumpy Bear servicing the master. That's fucking brilliant. I don't give a shit what the fuck you think. That's fucking brilliant. Even my supporters are like, okay, Scott, that's fucking brilliant. I don't care what you think. Sorry, you can watch it. You can look at it again. Let me tell you something. Today's topic, beyond the fucking treasury, today's topic, USAID. But Scott, that's a good thing Elon and Trumpy Bear are doing. Take down your meme. That's a good thing Trumpy Bear's doing. Everyone says so. Jimmy Dore says so. Joe Rogan says so. Meryl Nass says so. I mean, she's practically dedicated her entire fucking Substack page to nothing but fucking blowing smoke up Elon Musk's ass for going after the globalists at USAID. Take that shit down, everyone says. Take that shit down. That's awful, Scott. How dare you go after that? You have no fucking clue what's going on, do you? Do you? Say it. Admit. Admit it. I'm going to do like DSP. I'm not going to continue the video until you admit it. Of course, he doesn't continue his videos until you give him money. Piece of shit. But admit it. Admit it. You don't have the slightest clue as to what's going on. He's not taking down USAID. He put little Marco Rubio, little Lion Marco, as Trump once called him, in charge of USAID. And he put Pete Marocco in charge. Lawrence, what's his face? Something Lawrence. What's the guy? MSNBC. You know what I'm talking about. Lawrence O'Donnell, is that his fucking name? I don't know his name. I caught a clip of him. He was talking about it. And the only thing he had to say about Pete Marocco was that he was at the January 6th event, the insurrection of 1/6. No. What I called the velvet rope revolution. Bunch of guys and women walking through the velvet ropes with their fucking cameras like this. Just peacefully walking through the velvet ropes in the Hall of Statues. And listening to the people at MSNBC and CNN talking about the velvet rope revolution. I was watching it as it happened. Oh my God, it's horrible. The humanity. It's just burning. And of course, the other were walking through the thing quietly, respectfully, in between the velvet ropes. And watching them go off and act as if that was the insurrection that it later became, as its mythology grew and grew and grew. Now I heard somebody saying that oh my God, he let cop killers off. They killed the cops at I didn't, where? But I saw him talking about this. And the worst thing he could say about Pete Marocco was that he was at the insurrection of 1/6. What does that do? What does that do? What is he doing? MSNBC is doing the bidding as they are supposedly taking down Elon Musk for this move. They are actually doing the bidding of Elon Musk and little Lion Marco while they're doing it. That's not the worst thing you can say about Pete Marocco. Not by a long shot. In fact, the fact that he was there will pump the nads of these people. Yeah! He's out there sticking it to the man. Him and his wife are like walking around. Of course he was there. He was an agent of change. He's a fucking asset of the State Department. Has been for a long time. He worked for USAID. Do you know what he did for USAID? He was one of the ones in charge of regime change. Hi, Meryl. How you doing? I know you watch my shit from time to time. I'm going to put this video on Substack via fucking YouTube. I'm going to, because I hope you see it. I hope you see it. Because I hope people understand what you are doing. Little Marco Rubio, Little Lion Marco, now head of the State Department, Little Lion Marco is putting the guy who is the globalist working with the CIA through the State Department and USAID, has been for a while, putting him in charge of USAID to get rid of other programs that aren't aligned with our, wait for it, national interests. You know, he has big financial contracts with USAID, right? In Ukraine and other places with his bullshit fucking Starlink program. He gets billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars from USAID. But he will get billions. You know why? Because they're going to cut programs that actually do good at USAID and instead reroute that money to him. Right, Meryl? Right, Joe? Right, Scott? Let me tell you something. You want to know something about USAID and CIA? Go to my website. Scroll down to USAID on the right-hand side. And you can find access to stuff that I've been writing, 2012, 2010. You can find access to stuff that I've been writing on that very subject for 13 years now. 15 years. 15 years. You want to compare what I've done exposing USAID and their CIA regime change operations over the decades to, say, somebody else who's telling you this is a great thing because there's nothing good USAID does. Fine. Show me something that they wrote about 15 years ago exposing USAID and CIA. Back when it wasn't cool to do so. Back when it made you a conspiracy theorist to make that connection. Back when you were a traitor because you were reporting something that Cuba or Venezuela or Russia or many nations in Africa were saying. Okay? And that stuff is still up in their name. You show me that. In all likelihood, the people who are lying to you right now on the alt-right and even the alt-left, the people who are lying to you right now, part of their understanding of USAID and the CIA and that connection and regime change operations and color revolutions, all for our, as Marco Rubio put it, national interest, part of their understanding may very well have indeed come from something they read that I wrote when they were in college or in high school. Or something they read that I wrote recently that they read that I wrote when they were in college or high school. Or middle school, for that matter. Kindergarten? Now, just because I was early to it doesn't mean I am by any means an expert. I don't pretend to be. I'm just telling you right now, I got 15 years of verifiable data that I am not an asset for the CIA working for the USAID. I am not. I will tell you exactly what USAID is and exactly what they have done over the decades, as best as I can, but as honestly as I can. The guy that you're cheering for, yay, Elon! Service me, Trumpy Bear. Service me, Joe Rogan. Service me, Meryl Nass. The guy you're cheering for has just put in charge a neocon in charge of USAID, a neocon who has never, ever, ever opposed a single fucking regime change operation in his goddamn life. In Marco Rubio. Not only that, but he is currently, am I even recording? Yes, I'm sorry. He is currently ready, willing, and able to do everything in his power to regime change Cuba for his constituency down in fucking Miami and South Florida, Venezuela, Nicaragua, all of them. On behalf of expats, business people, moneyed folks who want to regime change those countries so they can go back there and take advantage of the free markets. Those free markets. He put that guy in charge. Your hero. Your hero who calls everybody at USAID a criminal. But the real criminal, his buddy, little Lion Marco, is putting in charge of USAID. A guy by the name of Marocco. You want the receipts? Not just me blabbering. I just had to blabber for a while because I wanted my meme to sink in. So proud of my meme. So proud of some of my memes missed the target, I have to admit. Not that one. Joe Rogan, podcast guest, made eye-opening claims about notorious USAID, a government agency Elon Musk wants to shut down. There's no aid. They don't give out any aid. Really? Is that the truth, Scott? Is that the truth? Remember, old Bibi Netanyahu, not Bibi Aunt, Bibi Netanyahu and the fucking Messianic Zionists and the real estate developers shut UNRWA out of the aid business in Gaza because they were being too helpful in feeding the Gazans. And the Gazans who have food and water available to them aren't really as likely to voluntarily leave. Guess who else has been feeding and aiding the people of Gaza to the tune of $2.1 billion since October the 7th, 2023. Guess who else? USAID. Don't believe me? They're the pictures of USAID aid and trucks being delivered in Gaza in the past 17 months. There's actually a very interesting little bit of information here. You see that image I highlighted? USAID West Bank / Gaza on X. Humanitarians are working tirelessly to get aid into Gaza. That's this past December. At USAID and other donations supported at UN partners. UNRWA was one of them. That's recent. That's actually a fork loader loading USAID rice and aid into fucking Gaza, offloading it from ships. Want to see something interesting? Your hero, Elon Musk. When you click on that link to go see the aid USAID has brought into Gaza from USAID Gaza / West Bank, Elon Musk deleted the account. There's your hero. There's your hero. There's your hero. Free speech hero. He doesn't want people to realize that USAID does, in fact, do something. What do? Well, USAID has provided more than $2.1 billion in aid to Gaza since October 7th, 2023. I didn't make that number up. It's the truth. It's the truth. And that aid money is now frozen. International aid organizations have warned that humanitarian efforts in Gaza would be severely impacted if USAID is shut down by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. It's not a fucking department. You can call it a department. You can call FedEx, and people might think it's part of the government, but it's not. Department of Government Efficiency there's no such thing. You can call my house, you can call my fucking room the Department of Bullshit Office Space. Okay? Now I'm a department. Now I'm government. Now I'm official. Musk said he was in the process of shutting the agency down, which oversees foreign aid, disaster relief, and international development programs, and that President Donald Trump agreed with him. Oh, I promise Mr. Trump agrees with me. He does whatever he wants. And then later Donald says, oh yeah, I agree with him on that. Because they're co-robber barons. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Marco Rubio told reporters on Monday that he had been appointed acting director of USAID, saying the agency is not functioning and it needs to be aligned with, what did I say? National interests. The moneyed class. I don't make this shit up, people. I don't make this shit up. There's Joe Rogan lying to you. There's Joe Rogan pushing the fucking lies. Always block that shit. He's gone. There's Joe Rogan pushing the fucking lies. What else do we have? Who else is pushing the lies? Here we go. Lots of lies here. Close that. Lots of lies here. She's quoting Dugin. She's a Duginist. She's quoting Alexander Dugin, a Russian perspective, as if Alexander Dugin's a Russian. USAID destroyed Trump and Musk's conservative blah, 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 blah. That's one thing on USAID. Here's another. Mike Benz describes the background and basis for USAID, revealing how the successful U.S. coup in Italy in 1948 led to blah, 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 blah. That's two things. If USA was simply an aid agency, it would not have needed a SCIF for handling top secret documents. No shit. That's three things. That's four things. That's five things. 5 of the 7 or 8 articles, last article she's posted, all about supporting Elon Musk's fucking attack on fucking USAID. Which, by the way, they support fucking Gaza and have been supporting Gaza. Let me get to this New York Times article for you. I'm gonna close the ones that I've already done. Okay, start off with. Scott knows what USAID is. Scott has known what USAID is for a long time. Here's something, just kind of recently. Cuban Twitter and other times USAID pretended to be an intelligence agency. That's right. Foreign governments have long accused USAID of being a front for CIA and other groups dedicated to their collapse. In the case of Cuba, they appear to have been right. And many, many other times they have been right. The Cuban Spring, remember that? Remember that? They tried to create a Twitter-like service, USAID, the regime change part of USAID. All of these links you'll find down below. I'll show you in a second. All of them. You know where else? You know what else? You know what else? One more recent. Our work in Serbia. USAID. By the way, you go to their websites and all of these links are dead because they shut them all down. Our work in Serbia. USAID programs are aimed at advocating Serbia's reform efforts as it moves forward on its path to integration into the EU. Our national interests, says Marco Rubio. Our national interests. Regime changing, currently helping to regime change Serbia. Because why? Because Serbia was looking at getting closer to the Belt and Road Initiative and China. 10 days later, a canopy falls. All of a sudden, like, almost as if it's controlled demolition. And it kicks off a color revolution. USAID. Serbia. I told you, July 2023, going on 2 years ago, USAID working with DIIA and X and Starlink and Elon Musk to control information, to control every aspect of Ukrainian lives and get them locked on doing everything through DIIA, which is an everything app. By the way, Elon Musk wants to use X as the everything app via increased use in countries where we regime change. You guessed it, Starlink. Starlink, by the way, which was just dumped by Ontario by Doug Ford, costing them $100 million contract. So here we have the remaking of USAID, and all that money going to different programs through USAID. Okay, not deliberately doing away with USAID, just redirecting that fucking glorious money. Rubio says he now runs aid agency, USAID. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Monday he had taken over acting administrator of USAID, assuming control of the agency that had functioned largely independently for 60 years and stoking fears about U.S. assistance around the world, namely Gaza. Mr. Rubio's announcement came after a week of drastic changes at USAID, the government's lead agency for humanitarian aid and development assistance. Senior officials have been suspended. Hundreds of civil servants and contractors have been iced out of USAID systems without warning. Pardon me. Many of the cuts were rolled out in secret and without warning. As representatives of Elon Musk, who was deputized by President Trump to lead a task force to reduce government spending, not a thing, not legal. He's not a marshal. He can't deputize somebody. He's the president. That doesn't happen. Took over its operations despite objections from aid workers and Democrats in Congress. Speaking to reporters in El Salvador, Mr. Rubio said that many programs were worthwhile and would continue under the umbrella of the State Department, promising to delegate the day-to-day operations to Pete Marocco, the department's director of foreign assistance. In a letter to top Republicans and Democrats on the House and Senate committees on foreign affairs and related appropriations, Mr. Rubio said that Mr. Marocco would, quote, begin the review potential reorganization of USAID's activities to maximize efficiency and align operations with the national interests. End quote. Mr. Rubio added that the review might include, quote, the suspension or elimination of programs, projects, missions, bureaus, centers, and offices, and that USAID may be abolished consistent with applicable law. End quote. That's New York Times. Link is there. Go read it yourself. Pete Marocco. Pete Marocco. All these people cheering. Yay! Musk! You're wonderful. Elon, you're terrific. This is all about keeping us from the globalists. Shutting down USAID. They take a little bit of information and they exploit it. And the alt-right and some of the people on the alt-left go, well, gosh, he's doing something against USAID, and USAID is nothing but the CIA. USAID is infiltrated by the CIA. There are aspects of USAID that are fucking a branch of the CIA, which is why a lot of countries don't want them in their country. I have been talking about this and writing about this for 15 years. You ain't telling nobody nothing. But I'm telling you that there are programs that they do that are valuable and worthwhile and save lives. Do away with the globalist part, yeah, but are they doing away with the globalist part? Pete Marocco. Pete Marocco is an assistant to the administrator leading the... This is from 2021. He's been around for a while. Now he's back in charge of the whole thing. He was kicked out, by the way. They wanted to run him out, by the way, because he hated the fucking good that they were doing in countries where they could use the fucking destabilization to overthrow the country. He didn't want them fucking giving food and aid to countries, to people in countries where they could use the poverty and the suffering to overthrow them. So he tried to tell them, hey, stop giving them aid. Fuck you. He's a goddamn rabid fucking globalist. Don't believe me? Pete Marocco is assistant to the administrator leading the Bureau for Conflict Prevention and Stabilization, CPS. Conflict Prevention and Stabilization. What does that mean? Conflict, fabrication, and destabilization. And serves as the agency's countering violent extremism coordinator. What does that mean? He serves as the creating violent extremism coordinator. He is the globalist. He is the deep state at the fucking USAID. And has been for a while. With a Washington, D.C. and field-based team of over 400, the Bureau, CPS, manages over $150 million in taxpayers' resources to mitigate conflicts that jeopardize U.S. national security. CPS programming is deployed through its Office of Transition Initiatives. Office of Transition Initiatives. Regime change. Program Office and Center for Conflict and Violence Prevention. Center for Conflict and Violence Creation. CPS also coordinates civilian military partnerships for the agency. Civilian military partnerships. Death squads. The fuck are you talking about? Yay, Elon! He's against the globalists. By putting little Marco Rubio, a globalist, neocon, Zionist, in charge of USAID. Yay, Elon! It sucks, doesn't it? It sucks, doesn't it, when your fucking hero turns out to be the goddamn villain. Let's continue. Meryl. Joe, shall we? Because trust me, it doesn't get better. Prior to USAID, Mr. Marocco served as Deputy Assistant Secretary to Defense of Africa Affairs. Before serving at the Pentagon, he was Department of State's Deputy Assistant Secretary and Senior Bureau Official for the Bureau of Conflict and Stabilization Efforts. Regime change. In that capacity, he led the implementation of the Stabilization Assistance Review. Mr. Marocco supervised the offices for Western Hemisphere, Europe, Eurasia, and Near East affairs, and served on a special assignment at the Department of Commerce as the Senior Advisor for Intelligence and Security in the Office of the Secretary. After Hurricane Harvey, he served as Director of Logistics for the state of Texas relief effort. How'd that go? Mr. Marocco enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps and served the private sector as a security advisor for the U.S. government in Afghanistan, the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America, leading several defense-focused programs. Mr. Marocco has over a decade of experience in conflict zones, leading efforts on international security, expeditionary logistics, and a humanitarian effort that rescued, resettled, or rehabilitated more than 4,000 ISIS survivors. Rescued, resettled, or rehabilitated. You snatched up those Syrians, those pesky Syrians, who wouldn't fucking who weren't going to live in fucking Rojava, and moved them the fuck out so you can hand over half of fucking Syria to the PKK and the YPG. What a hero he is. He's also served as an advisor, senior advisor for Dell Global Security, and served on the Overseas Security Advisory Council to the Bureau of Diplomatic Security. That's your hero. There's your hero. There's a guy who's going to fight against the globalists. The guy who's going to fight against the globalists. You think that's what he's going to do? Or do you think, perhaps, that what they're going to do is do away with programs that, I don't know, help people in need? Like, I don't know, like that. Do you think they're going to do away with, they're going to help people or help Elon? What do you think? What do you think? Elon has this StarNet thing. He has this Starlink thing connected to all these thousands of fucking. He wants. It's basically Skynet. He wants to put something in the back of your. This is the guy who wants to put something in the back of your fucking skull, a neural net fucking link, so you can be part of the fucking hive mind. Meryl Nass, Joe Rogan. That's what he wants. That's what he's talked about. Okay? And he's got the fucking satellites up there to start linking them in. And he's making money on Starlink. He's connecting them all up. Also that he can turn X. He's so edgy. X. He's so young and edgy. X. So he can turn X into the DIIA for the westernized nations. If you don't know what DIIA is, go read the fucking article. Go watch the fucking video. It's right there for you. Tell you exactly what it is. It's the Everything app. And that is USAID money. You think he's going to stop that money? Fuck no. He's going to add to that money. And where's he going to get the money to add to that fucking money? Gaza. There you go. There you go. I'm going to adjust this and take out Trumpy Bear and put a picture of Meryl Nass down there. That's your hero. But Scott, he's done one good thing. No, he didn't. You think he'd do one good thing? I hate to take it away from you. God damn it, Scott. I had the one thing. Sorry. That's what I do. I shit on stuff. I shit on your hopes and dreams. He's not. No, of course not. I am. I'm sure Alex Jones and all the rest are also blowing him for this. Trying to logic. Listen to me very carefully. Very carefully. If you've never listened to me before, listen to me right now. The only way USAID works in the past as an in for DIA, CIA, State Department, for the regime change assets, for special operations. The only way it works is people like, of course, Pete Marocco being on board with them. But they put people like Pete Marocco in there, but they have to have real shit happening on the ground in other places so that they can go, what are you talking about? Look at what's going on in Gaza. Look at what's going on in West Africa. Look at what's going on in Latin America. We're doing good. Because they are doing good. They let the do-gooders do good. They let the young people come out of college with their sociology degrees and they let them do good. They do. And they do well. And they do help people. They do good work in places like Gaza, in places like the West Bank. But only because that happens are they then able to say, see, we do great stuff. So we're going to come into Serbia and we're going to help the Serbian people. You see? You see how it works? We're going to come into Cuba. We're going to come into Nicaragua. We're going to come into Venezuela. Back in the day, we're going to come into Russia. But Russia figured them out. Out you go. Cuba figured them out. Out you go. There's no question as to how a certain wing of USAID is used. There's no question about that. No doubt in my mind. Should be no doubt in yours. What you should, though, remember is that wing is the wing that serves national interest. The rest of it, the part that does good in countries that need it, for people that need it, that part doesn't serve the national interests. And people like Pete Marocco, Marco Rubio, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and apparently we can now add Meryl Nass and Joe Rogan. Those people see the good that's being done as something bad, as something that harms our national interests. Because the hungrier a people are in a nation, the more likely they are to be on board with regime change. The hungrier a people are, the more desperate a people are, the more likely they are to work at the fucking free trade zone fucking industries for 38 cents a fucking hour. If they're that hungry, they'll take the job. Do you understand? They don't like providing aid to the people of Gaza. That $2.1 billion, that could have gone in Elon Musk's pocket. Starlink. And that aid kept those people there when, if the aid hadn't been delivered to the people of Gaza through USAID, then they would have had to have left by now, and they could already have fucking Donald Trump's fucking son-in-law, Jared Kushner, down there fucking driving stakes in the ground, laying out which pieces of fucking Gaza, he gets to build his fucking resort casinos in. See? You see how it works? There's your heroes. There's your heroes. And that's, if you buy into this USAID shit from these guys, that's you. That's you. I can't make it any clearer than that. They have no intention of changing, of shutting down USAID. You talk about the globalists and the horrible things, the worst things that USAID is known for. Fermenting revolutions and color revolutions and pushing regime change in countries through the CIA, the DIA, and State Department. Well, you're right, but he's not shutting that down. He's put that guy in charge of the whole goddamn operation. And the only thing they're going to shut down, is the aid to people who need it. Congratulations, boys and girls. The one thing you had to hold on to justify voting for Donald Trump, that's gone too. You're welcome.